Hello and welcome to another episode of the File Card Podcast. My name is Joe and I'm here with my brother Mike.
Hey everyone, got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about the Hershey Toy Show. Also have a community spotlight of a new toy shop opening. But before we get started, I wanted to know, Joe, if you're familiar with the episode, There's No Place Like Springfield.
I am. It's a great episode.
All right. At the end of episode 2, there's a part where the shipwreck's house is on fire. He's standing outside. Flint and Lady J show up, and Lady J says to him, "Was there anything important in there?"
Yeah, I think it ends with... how's it end exactly? What's he say?
He says, "Only a couple of dreams." And he's just great loss for Shipwreck in that moment. And you and I experienced a great loss as well on August 31st when Kokomo Toys tweeted out that a gentleman had finally purchased the sealed contents flag that you discovered several months ago.
Yes. And I tip my hat to that guy.
You did. And we've said on this show before that toy collecting is not a competitive sport.
No.
But in that moment, it felt like a loss, yes?
It did. A little bit of a dream had died right there.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is I asked your wife last night, or I told her last night about the fact that it was gone now, and she said that you had permission to buy it.
That's what she says. But did I really? I wonder.
I do too. I felt like it was going to be a bait and switch and like you would have been in trouble later on, or she would have taken a significant amount of money, invested it in something that she wanted.
Yes, I think so. It would pretty much would have cost me double.
Right. Well, it was very sad though terrible to think that one was gone. Because I've spent so many days driving back and forth to work thinking about us putting that flag together in Mom and Dad's house up in my old room, eating ham sandwiches and Doritos.
I know. But there's going to be more out there. I was really looking forward to that drive. Us getting in your truck, driving out there, driving home with it. But, we'll find another one.
It's not completely gone. The dream.
But, no.
But that one that we know where it's at is. But we'll locate another one. And when we were down at Joe Fest, we got a chance to meet Paige Wagner face to face. And in one of our trips back and forth to our room to drop off our haul, he said to us in the lobby, he said, "The time to buy is when you see it."
Yep.
And I was like, man, that is so true. That is great advice, right? Very simple advice, but great advice.
It's the best advice you can give any collector, I think.
Right. So, obviously you got to make a significant investment in something like that, and it's not always the right time, but now that it's gone, I feel like we should have done something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So that's how that turned out. A little bit anticlimactic, if you will. Somebody else walked away with our prize, but I hope he's enjoying it. And when he puts it together, I hope he eats ham sandwiches and Doritos.
Do you think he puts it together, or do you think he just leaves it? I mean, it was still contents.
That's a good point.
I mean, we would have opened it because we're animals.
We would have. There should be a moratorium on that, though, right? Like, any more sealed content flags should not be allowed to be assembled just because there's so few of them left, right?
Yeah, that's how a lot of people think. I don't.
Well, that's one of those rules is do as I say, not as I do. Because
right.
I want to put mine together.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's cool. That's how that ended up. And we'll keep you posted if we run into another one and we're tracking it.
I'm already tracking another one.
Sealed
Kentucky.
content?
Yeah, in Kentucky.
My man.
Yeah, I don't have a price on it yet, but I know the location of one. So I don't got any trips for work headed that direction for a while, but I'll find a way to get down there.
The dream lives.
The dream's alive.
All right, cool. So, Joe, you have a community spotlight of a gentleman opening a brick and mortar stores, and it's a name that I think people will remember if they've gone to Joe Fest or other toy shows.
80s Toys of Princeton. So the owner, Matt Collins, we got a chance to meet him and his wife down at Joe Fest at their absolute wonderful booth that they had set up. So he's finally opening up his own store, brick and mortar, a lifetime dream is what he said to us. So that really excited for him. It's in Princeton, West Virginia, just off of 77. So if you're traveling through, if you're in the West Virginia area, great. But if you're just traveling through, it's just a few minutes off 77 on Main Street. It opens up on Saturday, August 28th. And to kick it off, he's bringing in Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you get to travel, see a new toy store, and meet Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
Without a doubt. And I think also the town's doing some kind of festival that weekend, so you can bring the whole family too. So I would look that up. But, yeah, like we said, it opens up this Saturday, August 28th, 9 o'clock. Sarge will be there from 9 to 3. I exchanged some emails with him. So he's going to have all kinds of toy lines. Absolutely everything you can think of, from G.I. Joes, He-Man, Barbie, Transformers, Marvel, a little bit of everything. Vintage and new. You can pre-order through him too for a lot of the Marvel stuff. Or, I don't know if it's Marvel stuff per se, but I know he's doing pre-orders and everything. So, I mean, yeah, he's doing it all. And it's really cool. If you got to go to Joe Fest and you got to check out his booth, he had the parts bins that were just amazing. And we talked about him on the Joe Fest recap show, but he's going to have that too there. So not only are you going to be able to look at Joe's or try to shop for Joe's, but he has the parts bin, so you can find those little pieces that you need for what you're trying to complete. I'm excited to go through that. I got a lot going on that weekend, and I'm just coming back from a trip from work, but I'm going to do everything I can to get down there. It's just a couple hours from my house. And I want to support Matt. It's a great guy, so I want to be there day one if I can be. And it's just an awesome shop too. I'm sure it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the weapons bins that he had, and he also had some. His price on figures was great too, and they were very clean. And it's a store I'm looking to. And for folks that are kind of in that central Atlantic region, you've probably driven by Princeton if you've traveled south.
Yeah, and not even realized it.
No, yeah, it's an easy exit to get off of when you're traveling through West Virginia. So, just encourage everybody to, if you can, get out there purposefully, or if you're on your next trip and you realize, hey, I'm not driving, I'm not going to be too far.
If you're traveling through West Virginia, like a lot of people do each summer to go down to the Outer Banks, it'll literally be just a 5-minute stop off the road there for you.
Yep, good call. And me and Joe will be hitting it up. If not opening weekend, we'll be hitting it up soon, and we'll let you know all the good stuff he has.
And the other thing he said in the email when I was talking to him was he wants to provide a place where kids can go and toy shelves aren't empty, like they are at Walmart and everywhere else today when you go out to the stores. So I thought that was really cool.
That is cool. Get kids back into toys. I feel like and this isn't an original idea. Hardly anything on this show is. But something Kurt told us or had mentioned when he was down at Joe Fest is just, toy companies don't market the toys like they used to. It's not that kids won't play with the toys. It's just, for the most part, the toys suck. Right. And so it's cool that he's going to have a place for kids to go and discover toys and how awesome they can be and using your imagination. So cool spin on a toy store.
Yep. 80s Toys of Princeton. Make sure you check it out, guys.
All right. So next up, we have our latest adventure to a toy show, and that was the Hershey toy show. And it was one that we were tracking for a while, and then it was like, okay, well, we're not going to be able to go. And then last minute, it just kind of all came together, and me and you and Eli were able to make a crazy kind of one-day trip out of it. So
the night before it started for me, it's just getting to you. So my daughter had a gymnastics ceremony, so I wasn't even able to leave my place till almost 9 o'clock. So by the time I got to your place where we spent the night, it was midnight. And we had to get up at 5 a.m.
Right. So, and of course, while I'm waiting for you, I'm passing the time by, enjoying Sam's products. So I should have stopped, but I kept doing that. So waking up the next morning was a little bit rough.
Yeah, we got up at 5. We were out the road before 5:30. And then it was actually almost an eventful trip in some weird way from your place to Hershey.
Oh, yeah, we had to stop and get Dramamine. I forgot to pick up Dramamine. Then we stopped and got food at Chick-fil-A. Got a couple of chicken biscuits. Of course, you didn't want chicken biscuits.
I don't understand why you need chicken in the morning. I just don't. Like, sausage and bacon is what you get in the morning. Right. I don't understand chicken in the morning.
All right, so we get this massive order of Chick-fil-A. We're on our...
Yes, it was so big. We had to send you in. We couldn't go through the drive-thru. It's 2 grown men and a small young man, and we had enough food for 2 entire families.
Right, but we ate it all. At least most of it. So then we're rolling down the road, and Eli has to use the restroom. No big deal, right?
Right.
So we pull over, and while he's in his haste to get over to the side of the road, right? Because we can't stop at a true rest stop, right? We don't have time for that because we spent too much time at Chick-fil-A. So he's running around the car. He blows out his flip-flop.
Yep, flip-flop down.
Blown out. So we're like, all right, no big deal. We'll be able to pick something up quick.
Right, and our goal is to get to Hershey before 8 because we want to be there for the early bird special.
Absolutely. So we get into Hershey. We'll get off the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And anybody that knows anything about the Pennsylvania Turnpike there's nothing right off the Turnpike. But we're sure we're going to run into a Dollar General or a Family Dollar or something quick that we can get in and out of so it doesn't slow us down.
Just another pair of flip-flops.
Right. Well, I'd been to Hershey several times for work, and I knew where there was a group of stores, so I figured there'd be one there.
I was so mad at you. So listen, people. He had hours, to figure out where we were going to get flip-flops for Eli before we went into the toy show. And he didn't. He didn't look. He should have been on Google Maps figuring it out. We get off the exit, I ask him where to go, and he goes, I don't know, over here. Actually, no, that's not what happened. He acted as though he knew. He's like, oh, down here, on the right. And then I realized he's just making crap up. He had no idea. He didn't look. So he wasted 2 hours of time doing God knows what when he should have been figuring out where were shoes. And I'm furious inside because I assume now we're not going to make the toy show, right? In my head, we're going to be an hour late. All the good stuff's going to be gone. All because you didn't figure out where we needed to get flip-flops.
Well, I knew there was a group of stores. I just assumed there'd be something there. But we find a CVS, right? I run in. They're out of flip-flops except for a woman's pair of flip-flops. So that's what Eli got. He got a black pair of woman's flip-flops.
Yes. But in your defense, you couldn't tell.
No.
They were just black.
Yeah. And he gave them to his sister when he got home. So she got something from the toy show as well.
All right. Moral of the story, folks. When you're going on a big trip to a toy show, don't wear flip-flops. Okay? Because they can blow out on you at any time. And if Mike's with you, he won't figure out where to get new shoes and you'll be late for the toy show.
Right. Well, before we move on, since we haven't pounded this into the ground enough, we were actually having a discussion about what our least favorite G.I. Joe figure was. And I just felt like that was more important. But whatever. All right, so we get to the show, and to our surprise, there was not a lot of people in line.
No, I thought it would be a lot busier prior for the early bird special. But we were good. We still, even with all this happening, with you stopping for massive amount of food, for the pee break, going to 27 different spots to look for shoes, we still made it there. And within 10 minutes of our hit time.
Yeah, we did good.
Mm-hmm.
So when we go in, right away we find a fellow by the name of Henry.
Yeah. Well, first off, you paid for my ticket. Thank you. I don't know if I told you thanks.
Oh, no problem. You paid for gas. I think I got I got better of it, but...
Well, let me backtrack. I'm always backtracking if you noticed on this. But anyway, let me backtrack. The day before the show, they posted a picture of the room. And I was like, really? I'm driving basically 6-7 hours to go to this. To me, the room did not look very big. So it's kind of grumpy in the back of my head thinking about the show. I was like, I just don't know if this is really worth it. That was always in the back of my head. I don't know if you realized that or not.
No, I did. I knew. I knew. But having been to the Hershey Lodge for trainings and conferences, like, I knew the ballroom we were in, and I knew that if it was full of tables, which it was, we were going to be fine.
Yeah. And it turned out to be wonderful, but it just, that angle with that picture, I was very nervous for a little while. I was skeptical of what we were getting ourselves into.
Yeah. I mean, without until you see it, it's hard. It's hard to be sure. But, when we got in, one of the things Eli wanted was, he wanted an Outback and he wanted a Alley Piper.
And I didn't go with you. Because I didn't stop to pee because I was in a hurry. So I had to go use the restroom and you guys started shopping, I remember.
Right. So we get over to this guy. Henry had a beautiful spread.
Wonderful.
Probably the best G.I. Joe 3 3/4 spread.
Yeah, we've seen. I mean, it was just as though...
Of the Hershey Toy Show.
Yeah. Maybe, you don't think ever?
No, I would say the Toy Depot at Joe Fest was better.
You're right. Henry's looked like somebody had a large G.I. Joe collection and they were selling their own personal collection. That's how nice everything was.
Right. Yeah, I would say from the perspective of having the best condition, the most shows, that might have been
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right on that. So Eli wants an Alley Viper, which is kind of a heavy hitter, right? Because just the shield and some of the other accessories.
Yeah, a lot of people army build them too, so it
Yeah.
drives the price up.
So we found one for an affordable price, so we knocked that out right away.
Okay.
And but then we meet up with you. We find you, and you were. Do you remember where you were?
I don't remember the name of the table, but he had a wonderful setup, and it was just huge on accessories too. He had a lot of hard to find Joes. He had a lot of vehicles. He also had heavy metal with the mic, which was the first time I saw that in person. So that was really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
You know, but he had a ton of accessories, and he had them separated by year and then labeled by person. I didn't really run across anything I needed, but it was cool because I seen Strato Viper 72 from Twitter. He recently posted that he was missing some stuff for his Spirit. So I was able to pick those up for him, which was cool to be able to help out another collector who, you know, like so many have helped us out recently.
Yeah, it was nice to be on the other end of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I liked that he had, like you said, he had some complete vehicles. I liked seeing heavy metal just like you did.
Mm-hmm.
And from talking to the gentleman for just a few minutes, you could tell he was a collector.
Yeah.
You know, and he had this isn't for sale, but if you give me this much money, I'd take it.
Right.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Like, it wasn't like, I'm not legitimately trying to sell this, but if someone would pay this for it, sure, I'd sell it. You know?
Right. It was almost like getting to see part of his collection, and then he had some other stuff for sale.
Right. Yeah, that was kind of a cool way to do it. So, as a collector, I appreciated that.
Oh, without a doubt.
You know, he had some things behind glass. So, at this point, we're kind of bouncing from booth to booth, and I'm beginning to feel overwhelmed. Which I always do at these shows because there's just so much, and I'm struggling to buy. But you came across a gentleman that had one of your top 5 figures in need.
Oh yeah. That was Vic from the collector sect, but he had Storm Shadow, and I've run across Storm Shadow just a ton. Version 2, 88, over, you know, almost a year since we've been back at this, but finding him in a bright white and without the scratches, or not scratches, but the paint wear on the gray rope. That's where it always is. So actually to find one, and it wasn't complete at the time, but it was right. The paint was perfect. He was bright white. So I definitely picked him up. And that was my first purchase of the day. And I was happy to do it. He was missing the claw. So I went back to Henry's booth later on in the day, and he had the claw for sale. So I was able to complete him. So definitely excited to finally have him added to it. For a long time, he was my go-to Joe as a kid.
I would say he was probably your go-to Joe until he met his demise, which I don't remember him meeting his demise. But until he was no longer with us.
Right. I mean, he had melted feet because I put him in the fire.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And we had a bonfire. And then the next morning I went out there and I took the Joes and I was playing with them. And then in the ashes, I was having him go through. And like he melted the bottom of his feet.
I do remember
that. And I kept rolling with him forever. And then he had super glue stuck to him too because I made a snowboard out of popsicle sticks. And he glued him to that for a while.
It's a wonder any G.I. Joe still exists.
Yeah. he had a heck of a life, or at least mine did. Whoever bought this one didn't get to enjoy him the way I did ours.
Thankfully, there was kids out there with a little more sense. So now we get to enjoy these figures again. So when you were there at Vic's booth, Vic had some awesome stuff, and he had some play sets to the side, and he had the Bivouac Action Force. I just think the Action Force stuff is so cool, right? Mm-hmm. And I picked it up, and it's early in the show. And so for me, when I'm at shows, I am so overwhelmed.
Yeah, we haven't been there 30 minutes yet.
No. And I'm just like, there's so much stuff here. Is this what I want to do? And the thing was, it was a reasonable price, you know. And I had never seen an Action Force, even on eBay. Not that I search a ton, but I do. And I hadn't seen a Bivouac Action Force. It had the booklet. It had nice stickers on it. Like, it was good. And while you were standing there looking, I was looking at some of his other stuff. I was holding it, not sure what to do. I set it down. Well, not more than a minute after I set it down, a teenager and his dad come by. pick it up. They start looking at it. I see their smartphone. Because, smartphones are basically the size of tablets, right? So it's not like I'm creeping, but you can just tell he's right on eBay. And I can see that he's pulling them up, trying to see, what bivouacs sell for and stuff. And so he bought it. So now I'm just...
You're pretty mad.
Yeah, I almost wanted to leave. I didn't want to buy... Like, I was just... Oh, it took me a little bit. The only thing that saved me was within about 10 minutes, I had placed a bid on the Action Force checkpoint, and it was going off. So until that went off, I was out of it. So we keep walking around looking... different booths. There's a lot of booths. It's a lot of toys in general.
Yeah.
And I haven't bought anything at this point. But I can't buy anything. I can't think about anything else because I'm just so mad that I set that down and those people bought it, and I think they bought it just to resell it.
Yeah, it's probably on eBay by the end of the day.
So super frustrating. But when I won my eBay auction, and I got that Action Force Outpost, I was able to breathe a sigh of relief and return to where I was, the show, and spending money and buying stuff at the G.I. Joe or at the Hershey Toy Show. So okay. So after I get that, I'm able to return mentally. So we do a lap. We don't buy anything else, right? But now it's time to go table by table and really know what they have. So the next place we go is we go back to Henry,
which we found ourselves going back there many, many times throughout the day.
And another one of Eli's guys that he really wanted to pick up was Outback. So we start looking. He has a really nice Outback. He's complete. The white in his shirt is still very bright white. I mean, it's beautiful. Solid price. So I picked it up from Henry. It was in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who you got when we went back?
I got Slaughter. I got version 2 Slaughter with his baton. So, I mean, we had this one as a kid. And so I've been looking for him. I mean, he was on, the top 10 list to get, and then just found him there for the right price. And I was shocked because I was knocked out 2 of the figures that I've been wanting for a while within a half hour of each other. Just bam, bam. Really happy to have him, and got him for a really fair price, I think, too. I was happy with that. Henry's booth back there was tough because you found yourself just almost overwhelmed. Like, he had so many of the guys that you were looking for, and so many of the rare ones. It was just fun to just see them because to find them out in the wild, you just doesn't happen too often.
And nor do you run into a guy that's just friendly, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was so knowledgeable too. The other part he did with his booth that was cool that a lot of people don't do is he had almost like pamphlets set each side, like 3 or 4 of them, because his booth was kind of like in an L shape. And he had everything he had that he brought by year, the name, and then the price for everything. So, I mean, if he was with a customer, because he was with a customer all day, everybody was talking to him or asking if he had stuff, because he also had parts behind the counter and vehicles. So you could go in there and you could, see, just look through the prices and know if that's the one you wanted or not. Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then talk to him. So a little while later, on, maybe trip 27.5 or something like that back to Henry's, I'm kind of jumping ahead, is when I picked up the Altitude Mint on Card Sky Patrol from 1990. I mean, he had it for just a steal of a price. And I saw it on the first trip to his booth, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I didn't even look up the price because it's just so crazy right now, right?
Yeah.
And then when I was, I don't know, like I said, the 100th time back there, I'm just looking through his price sheet, and I realized what he's asking, and I'm just like, oh, really? And check, make sure that's not a mistake, and it's not. And I'm like, done, I'm taking it. But there was also, while I was waiting to talk to him, there was other people who were coming over and looking. So I take the paperwork that I had with all the pricing, and I set it down on top of his glass counter.
You did do that.
On top of Altitude so no one else could see it, because I wanted it. I was
Right.
getting this guy. So, and initially, because I picked up the whole set of the Sky Patrol at Joe Fest, and it was a great set at a good price, but I wanted to upgrade Altitude from it. He's missing just a little bit of paint and Airwaves rifle. It was the only things I needed to do. So with this, I was really planning on opening it when I really got it, because I paid less than what they go for on eBay loose. But now that I got it, I don't know if I really feel that way. I think I'm going to keep it on card, and I'll just search for another one. to upgrade the one I have right now.
Right. So, are you afraid to? I mean, here's what I know, Joe, is you've picked up several on-card things recently. Just kind of, you got one for your birthday, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know you grabbed a Street Fighter when we were at D&E Comics a few. Yeah, and you still have your on-card Captain Gridiron.
Yeah, I got Gridiron.
So
I got a couple more too at the house.
Yeah. So my question is, are you concerned that you're going to switch into because the on-card is, I mean, that's like another level of investment when you're talking.
No. That's too rich for my blood. But once you come across one and you get it for a good price, you know what I mean? You just enjoy it.
Right.
So, and maybe later down the line I'll trade it. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, that's cool. So one of the things that we picked up too, this was off a guy that was selling mostly 12-inch Joe stuff, is we came across the tissue packs.
Yeah.
From like 80, was it 88, 89?
88, 89. Yeah. I remember getting them in our stockings as a kid.
Right.
And yeah, that's one of the best parts about going to a show is you just never know what's going to be there. And I was just digging through this box, and lo and behold, at the bottom of it, there was the tissue. And I just asked him, I said, hey, what do you want for this? And I was expecting him to say like $5 or $7. And he's like $1. I'm like, done. There's no way I'm walking away for $1. And then we dug through and we found another one for you.
Right. So we both picked one up. And I think my wife, for some reason, thinks that I'm going to give those to people to use or use them. I'm not sure what. I don't know why I bought them necessarily either, but they're cool.
Right. And that was one of the things when I got back into collecting, I told myself, like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm just going to buy G.I. Joes. I'm not going to buy G.I. Joe memorabilia, possibly. I don't have memorabilia, but the other things that went along with it. Yeah. Yeah, but I find myself doing it all the time.
Yeah, right in that vein, we go half on for $10, we bought a big Ziploc bag full of pamphlets. Too.
Yes, that was so much fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you open yours up yet?
I opened some of them.
Yeah. Because they were sealed. So somebody had gotten their hands on just a ton of pamphlets and then went back, refolded them correctly, and then sealed them back up like in plastic, to preserve them. So what do we do? Or what do I do? We buy them. And then I get home and I just open them all up.
Me and Eli had fun looking through them. One of the things we were looking through is one of the old mailaways from like 83, 84 that had it was a booklet that had all of the mailaways and a mailaway form at the end.
Yes.
Did you get one of those too? Yeah, that was cool to look through and wish I could have been a part of that, right? Right.
I was blown away with, even in the 90s, because I think it was like 92 or 93, and the mailaways, like a lot of the stuff that was offered, was from the early 80s. Like, stuff still continued. I wish I had it in front of me so you could be more specific, but a lot of that stuff did carry on. Yeah,
they had it. We've said it before on the show, like, we didn't get into the mailaways. I don't know why. It was there for us. Mom and Dad would have helped us. I don't understand it.
So I was just listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about time travel and like the future plans of it and how it's working and the technology, and they believe that one day you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came to my mind was I could back and tell myself to order Still Brigade.
Absolutely. Right. First place you're stopping.
Yeah. 7-year-old me. Like, listen, kid, you need this.
Not stopping the Kennedy assassination or anything like that. You're like, Getting me a Still Brigade. Right. Gonna battle my Storm Shadow. Speaking of Storm Shadow, we were able to pick up a Storm Shadow from Vic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we can really overplay this, but in some ways we have to be annoying to these vendors because we do just make laps.
Yes, so it's a big show. We just walk around the entire show, and then when we come back to the table, we stop, look back through all their stuff again, talk to them, sometimes ask them the same questions over again. And then, so I feel like we knew Henry and Vic by the end of the day, and we were their annoying cousins.
Yeah. That's true, but at the same time, we were dropping dough. So I was a little bit confused on why they kept being annoyed when they see us. Because if I was me and I saw me coming back, I'd be like, oh, well, he dropped 40 last time. We'll see what he drops this time. Like, come on back. It wasn't like we were time-suck customers and we were like talking all day. We bought like a $3 accessory. We were buying stuff, but there was definitely an annoyance there. I felt like. No, they were good guys. I'm just kind of teasing them. Not that they actually listen, but so one of the he had a Storm Shadow, and slight yellowing started, right? Mm-hmm. So more so than the color would probably been the patch. I felt like, you know, his Cobra emblem was kind of it had some nicks to it and stuff, but overall he had especially from a distance, he looked very white. The closer you got to him, but from a display, he'll have a very white coloring and very affordable. He was about half of what okay ones go for online. Okay. I am missing the nunchucks, but super stoked to get him. And the other thing that I got that day was at one table I was able to get a complete dock and a complete beachhead. You know, I packaged them together, and he kind of gave me a discount for buying two at the same time. So very, very excited about both of those. And I guess the one thing that I did towards the end of the show is we're still making our laps, right? Mm-hmm. And I come across a really very, very blue Shockwave. I'm like, you know, he's pretty good. He got a little scuff on his head, but he's super blue. And, you know, with the yellowing and stuff with that color, I'm like, I'm going to pick him up. You know, he was $10. Joints were all tight other than that. So I grabbed him. Well, you and I and Eli had talked. We're like, you know what? Let's try to go to some of these tables that don't look like Joe dealers, but they just have toys everywhere. And let's go through those and let's really make sure.
Yeah, do the search.
Yeah. With some of the guys that are a little less organized. Well, when we are doing that, I come across a mint Shockwave for $10. So now, but incomplete, right? He's incomplete, but he's perfect in every way. So now I bought him. So now I've bought two incomplete Shockwaves with no weapons, no accessories. But that, you know, that is such his life, right? I mean, I don't really regret buying either one of them.
No, and Shockwave's such a cool character that if you wanted to, you could also army build him later on.
Yeah, he has a SWAT look. But when we were doing that deep dive, you came onto a real gem.
I picked up Steamroller, the driver for the Mobile Command Center. So, as I said in another show, he, in my mind, is the G.I. Joe most likely to defect the Cobra. He looks like a Dreadnought, but he's awesome. And we got him when I was 7, I think you were 5. Was really, really stoked to pick him up. Got him complete with file card. The only problem was his knife was actually broken once we opened it up and checked it out. But yeah, I talked to the guy, and you know, it was like less than $10 was what he wanted for it. I was blown away. I wasn't passing up that opportunity.
No, that was a good one, and I so was hoping that you would put him down.
Oh no,
because I was going to pick him right.
Once I picked him up, he wasn't coming back down.
I was going to steal him from you. Any other thoughts on the Hershey show?
Well, another character I picked up while I was there was Wild Weasel. And so Wild Weasel wasn't a character we had as a kid. The head mold's really big on it, and almost, in my mind, kind of goofy looking. But Eli picked up one at Joe Fest. And just checking his out, I was like, oh, wow, this is a cool figure. So just walking through just random booth, you know, a guy had a bunch of stuffed animals and just random action figures, and you know, digging through that, I just found Wild Weasel in a bag and picked him up for just a few bucks. So yeah, and then he's pretty much mint. I was real lucky and glad to add him to the collection. And then another one that I've been looking for a while was I picked up from Beck on our, you know, Stop 27 at his booth.
right.
You know, I picked up Dogfight. He might have the greatest mustache in all of G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it's right up there with Wild Bill's for sure.
Oh, yeah. So that giant orange mustache. We never had this one as a kid, but it's one I always wanted. I'm glad I got to add him to the collection.
So I guess one of the last figures I want to tell you about, and there's a couple more. If you see on our picture from that day, I was walking by this booth and I saw just a loose tunnel rat sitting there, and the guy had, I don't know, like you said, Care Bears or something. Mm-hmm. And I was just, what do you want for that? He's like, $3. Picked him up, looked him over. He had one little spot on his do-rag. Mm-hmm. And other than that, his joints were tight, his screws weren't rusty. I was like, $3 all day long, right?
Yeah.
So Eli got a tunnel rat. Now, I'm not sure we'll find the accessories for him. Those are really hard to find, but very cool pickup for $3.
Yeah, definitely. And the finest was there also, the G.I. Joe costume group. And It was cool. The cosplay thing I didn't really know much about, but I saw kids, getting their pictures taken with them and seeing how excited they were. And if a young kid is a fan of G.I. Joe, it's just like going to Disneyland, and you know what I mean, being with those characters. I thought that was pretty neat. And
so overall, we had a great time, right?
Yeah, I mean, how couldn't we? I mean, it was definitely a successful trip. We got version 1 and version 2 Storm Shadow. That's a good day.
It is, and there's a couple other things. Picked up a vehicle for Eli, and just a great show. We had a fun lunch too.
Yeah,
we went for wings, and you got a sandwich, and it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it was awful actually. So, but moral of the story is, if you go to a wing place, get freaking wings.
Yes, we're breaking ground.
Yeah.
But
real quick, what we did with the show, I think the timing of the show is how I want to work them in the future too. So we went for the early bird, which is really nice to have that hour with fewer people.
Yeah.
And then we walked around for another few hours, and then it was starting to get crowded, and we left for lunch, and took a little break, regrouped, thought about what we wanted to go back and double check and look at, and it definitely cleared out a good bit. And I think that's a good way to try to work a show.
Yeah, because you can say, well, did you see this at this booth? Did you notice this? Yeah, you can regroup, and you're not so overwhelmed with kind of everything flying at you.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully we have another show for you soon. And take care.
See ya.